Alright, 10 seconds. Alright, everyone's in the qualifying session now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tier 4 in Portimao, Round 3 of the 24 long season. Like I said, we're here in Portugal for Portimao, and, well, we had quite an interesting race last week. This race, not many people have driven on this track, as it's a lot of uphills and downhills. 2 DRS zones, one going into turn 1 and the other one into turn 5, and 15 corners for them to navigate. Track limits might be an interesting story here, but for now we must get on to qualifying, where everyone is preparing their cars for the session. My name is Miniko, and I am here with Feta. Say hi.
Hello everyone, I'm happy to be here. So far no one has gone out, but of course, new track, new opportunities. This is going to be interesting because not everyone is so experienced with going side by side here. There's a lot of tricky places to get by people, so this is a learning curve for a lot of the drivers. I see someone going out on KP21, the first of the few. But thoughts on the track, really? I mean, a lot of people I saw on social media really like the track, really well built compared to real life, very realistic. All we need to see if it provides good racing so far. Tier 3, F2, and realistic, the 3 tiers that have raced before us, provided a good show. So um, let's make sure this one is no different.
Yep, that's what we're all here for. We're all here for exciting racing. Tier 4 tends to provide that. I mean, last week in China, we had a wet to dry session, which made things pretty interesting in terms of strategy. Maybe we could get another wet race, we'll find out. But for now, it's an all dry session in qualifying. And like you said, KP21 is going to be the first one to really lay the rubber down on the soft compound of tire. And like I said, 15 corners, it's going to be interesting. The main moves you might see are around turn 1 and turn 5, but this is Tier 4. Anything can really happen. As KP21 goes around the penultimate corner and now to the final corner, he's going to be the first one to start a flying lap. And interestingly, 3 people at the moment have gone for the mediums. Let's see how they play out in this session.
Of course, a few things to note. Tire wear is not really a big deal in this track, surprisingly. Softs can go around, let's say, 13 laps, maybe. I don't know, roughly around there. I haven't really done this track. This is a new track for everyone. ERS does deplete before the final corner, after the final corner, but before the finish line. So we might see some strategies here in qualifying before the race. Some people opting to go 0% ERS before, on some corners, sector 3 or sector 2 to try and make up that time in the depletion. We might see some people going 2 laps, on the same amount of tire if they can do that. I'm getting some inside sources as well from the chat here, BRL Phantom. It is going to be a wet race, a dry to light rain to heavy rain. So,
Ooh.
I don't know. I mean, people are going this early out on the mediums. Could they be qualifying on the mediums? Mediums is a very good tire around this track, so I've heard. You can go along with it, and it doesn't really degrade a lot every lap. So it depends really when the rain will come out, if you could qualify on softs or mediums. Yeah.
Well, it depends on how early the rain wants to come.
Yeah.
If it wants to come out late or early, we shall find out. Valkyrie, the first one to set a lap time, 18.9. The first one to set a lap on the medium compounded tires. James B follows behind with a 26.5. He's probably doing a double lap as we have a yellow flag. I believe that is Phantom just pulling away. Shredder gets provisional pole, 18.5 on the softs. Very decent lap time. We'll see what everyone else can do. Next up is a Mercedes coming across the line. Does he go pole? No, he doesn't, but he goes an 18.8, the highest of the medium runners so far. So three people have already set medium tire compound laps, and 2 more are on an out lap to do exactly that. Like I said, it's going to be interesting how this is going to play out as we see another person coming across the line. That is Wrath. He's going to be starting a lap actually, and next will be now RJL. But yeah, it's it's gonna be interesting whether how many people are gonna opt for the mediums, try and go long into the wet. But we'll just have to wait and see. It's gonna be interesting. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, of course, second rain race of the BRL tiers. I think we're gonna see a lot of that in the next upcoming tiers as well. But a lot of people are out right now. Actually, only like 6 people are in the pit lane. 16 people are racing. It's pretty good attendance. Few favorites today. Valkyrie, of course. He won his first ever race in BRL. The rookie in China after a very disappointing Bahrain Grand Prix, where unfortunately DNF, who was also battling for the lead. And of course, we can't forget Phantom. Phantom missed China, but he did race Bahrain and won that race. So he's going to try and make up some points here. He's also qualifying on the mediums right now. 11 minutes left. Let's see if he changes his mind or stays on that tire for the remaining of the session. James B currently a really, really high time, 126.5, but he was battling for the lead with Valkyrie. Unfortunately, missed out. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't discount anybody else, though, as really anybody can be competitive if you have the lap time. Like you said, Phantom and Valkyrie both showing their pace in Bahrain and in China, with Phantom getting the win there, and then Valkyrie basically dominating China, really, to led every single lap except for like two or three. So anybody could like get something out of this, especially KP21 as well, who's and I just saw a henchman spin off of turn 4. Turn 4 is known to be a really tricky corner. Henchman providing exactly what I mean by that as he spins. But yeah, KP21, he could be very competitive here as well. So it's anyone's game in these tiers. But like you said, the favorites seem to be those 3: Valkyrie, Phantom, and KP21. But we'll just have to find out, as well, a lot of people are still setting lap times. I believe that's Wrath coming up to the line now. He sets at 22.6, but was actually invalidated. And next up is the 2 Ferraris, actually. Fluky first, then Bald Guy. Fluky still valid at the moment, and keeps it valid through the final corner. Goes a little bit, and just invalidates, just going super wide, and pulls off to get away from Bald Guy, who's going to be the next one to the lap. No, that's not KP21, that's RJL. He goes into the pits because he's already set a lap time. I believe that is James B. No, it's not. Actually, that is a Williams, which I think was Avi. Nope. I'm wrong again. There we go. One of the favorites. And on the mediums, BRL Phantom, provisional pole at 18.3 on the mediums. That is a very, very surprising lap time.
Yeah, of course, in front of the soft runner, Shredder. Shredder is on an out lap, so he's going to think of beating Phantom's time on the fresher rubber. Valkyrie pulls to the pits as well. He's going to try and aim for a better time later on in the session. There's a lot of traffic around this track. A lot of people are setting lap times after lap time. This track isn't really as high tire degrading as China and Bahrain, which were our first two tracks. But third round of the season, people are starting to get into form. People are still trying to find their form. But then again, it is a 24 race calendar. Anything can happen. As long as you play the patient game, keep your pace up, you will succeed.
Yeah, patience is really going to be the main thing in this season. If although you can slip up a couple times, you got to be careful not to slip up too many, or else that'll cost you a championship. So, really, all these drivers are trying to just mitigate trying to mitigate that and lessen their mistakes. As Tier 4 is known for people trying to improve and get faster at the game, so it's not uncommon for them to make mistakes. But it's still not what they want. They want to compete, and well, a bunch of people at the moment already setting lap times that are very competitive indeed, such as Phantom. Shredder, though, he actually backed off, so he's probably going to go for another lap again. But Butters is coming around the penultimate corner. Is still valid for the time being. Goes around the final corner. Remember, he's on those mediums, so let's see what he can do in comparison to BRL Phantom. He's got an 18.3 to beat. Where does he go? Only an 18.6. Doesn't improve on position, but does improve on lap time. So, one thing I'm noticing is that it's very split. Seeing mediums and softs. So, this is a question of rather who plays it well in terms of strategy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, talking back about, it is a very long season. We have rookies like Valkyrie, and veterans like Phantom. Phantom's currently in pole position. Shredder, I know he's been in this season for like 2 seasons now, but Valkyrie's new. Valkyrie's gonna show what he's worth. He's about to start a lap. Yeah, it's pretty split right now. 3 people in on mediums inside the top 10. More E-Type is gonna continue on more laps. This is interesting to see, really. Realistic, especially realistic, there was rain at the end, but here there's going to be rain at either the middle or the start of the race. So people are really just, playing their luck here.
Yep, but the real contention is who can make the tires last and who can get pole position, which is what Valkyrie's trying to do now. Going into turn 5, late braking quite a bit, hitting the apex very nicely indeed. Gets a little squirrely though on the exit, as Shredder actually goes pole position, 18.0 on the softs. That is a very good lap time. But remember, Phantom was on those mediums, and he set that lap time at 18.3, so he's going to have to be aware of that. And Phantom is already thinking of softs at the moment. But we're going to stay on board with Valkyrie going through turn 11, I believe. Purple second sector, so there's the pace that we've seen from Valkyrie all the entire time through turn 13 and then 14. Keeps it nice and clean. You got to be careful not to go wide here, or else you'll invalidate your lap time. Valkyrie does exactly that, keeps it clean. Now through the final corner, is he gonna pinch it slightly? Now gonna come across the line. What is Valkyrie gonna set? An 18.0. That is very close between Shredder and Valkyrie, but Valkyrie getting the best of the Haas and is currently provisional pole for now.
Yep, Phantom's still in the pit lanes. He's gonna wait for the optimal time to try and beat his rivals here. For the lowest tier in BRL, an 18.0 is not bad, I must say. It is still very competitive between all the drivers. Everyone's pushing for that extra 10th, really. Hobwob is invalidated, so he's not gonna set a time.
See what Avi can do. He goes up to P9 and 19.1 for the time being. It's just inside of the top 10, but it's not. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, but for now, it's currently sitting P9. Henchman goes across the line to start another lap, I believe, or maybe he didn't improve. He's got, I believe, a 30.4 as he actually spins off of the first corner, just hitting the sausage curve, so that's not what he wanted. He's going to have to regroup, get all that ERS back, and hopefully go for another lap on the mediums. Still a lot of people going for mediums right now, despite it nearing the end. So they're thinking that the mediums will stretch to the wet and then eventually pay off for them, which is, like I said, very much. Oh yeah, I see that. Redeemer goes P6, I believe 3/10 behind his teammate. That's some pretty good showing for Redeemer. He's had a couple of bad races. Yeah, he's had a couple of bad races as of recently, so P6 at the moment for Redeemer. That's a pretty good lap time for him. Hopefully he can stay in the top 10, which is ideally what he wants.
Yep, a lot more people going on for laps. People still on the medium tires. Henchman, Bod Guy, more Ethan. Ethab is in the pits. Butters is on 5-lap old mediums. You see people are starting to come out. There's this train starting to form outside the pit lane to try and set a lap.
Here comes the train of cars, and I believe the first one leading is James B on the softs in the Alpine. James B, who had a very good performance last week. Despite him being a reserve, he managed to get a podium, which is very respectable indeed, so there's no doubt that he'd be in the Alpine again, trying to show his worth. Currently sitting right behind his teammate at the moment, but we'll see what he can do on this lap, as now a bunch of people are on outlaps now. That's how you know that everyone's going to go out, as I believe now ideally, Phantom is coming out of the pits now, and so is Shredder. So both those two, Phantom, who set that lap on the mediums, Shredder, who's barely behind Valkyrie on those softs, they could potentially be the favorites for pole position. We'll just have to wait and see, as Shredder is coming around the penultimate corner and they're going to go through the final corner to set a lap time. I think he'll have enough time to actually set 2 laps, so let's see if he can do exactly that.
Yeah, I think the tire wear is enough for him to do that. Valkyrie is just coming out of the pit, so he will have to do 1 lap of that. Shredder will come back to.
It's going to be interesting as
yeah. I'm sorry. What?
It's going to be interesting whether whether Valkyrie can make it. I think he has a little bit of a margin for now, so I think Valkyrie should be able to make it as long as he doesn't stall too much. Shredder goes purple sector 1, which is a 10th over a 10th faster than his previous lap time, which is currently supplanting Valkyrie for the time being, but he needs to keep it calm, needs to keep it clean. Doing so at the moment through turn 8, which I actually searched this up a little while ago. Turn 8 is actually called Samsung. I don't know why. It's a little strange, but I know, I just found it kind of funny. But he goes through all those corners quite neatly. Purple sector 2, 3/10 up. This is the lap that Shredder's wanting at the moment. But can he keep it clean into the final couple of corners? Redeemer left the session. You're going to need an invite for that. Can you sort that out, please?
Yes, sir.
But Shredder now coming around the final corner. Does he keep it clean? The ERS deployment is used, but he's still going up on his lap time. What does he do? A 17.6 pole position, 3/10 ahead of Valkyrie. But we're going to have to watch out for Valkyrie and Phantom right now. Phantom on a lap time, already 2/10 up on his lap time. Hobwob goes up to P2. James B is up into P3. So now some blistering lap times are currently being shown at the moment. But we're going to stay with Phantom for now. Still valid at the moment. It was 3/10 up in just the first sector alone. So this is already looking like a good lap for him. The yellow flag in the final sector, I believe that is the Williams of Henchman, as he's probably going to go to the pits. Phantom, purple sector 2, 5/10 up on his time. Can he get pole position for the second time in 3 races? It's going to be very, very close. Let's see if Phantom can do it. Coming around the penultimate corner, keeps it clean. Round the final corner, easy flat. Gonna open the DRS soon. Where does he go? Does he set a 17? He does. He better Shredder's time with a 17.5. But we're still not done yet. Valkyrie's invalidated. So Valkyrie will not get pole position. What can the others do though? KP21, does he have a good enough lap time? Going through the final couple of corners, getting really close to the track limits. keeping it clean round the final corner. James B goes pole position. What can Valkyrie, what can KV21 do? Can't improve on position, but James B currently on pole position. What a lap!
That is qualifying finish. That came out of nowhere. That was so late into the session. He surprised everyone with that lap time. Super close between BRL Phantom, 500 separating them both.
After just getting a podium last week in that same Alpine car, James B certainly proving his pace, going pole position here in Portimao, 44 thousandths ahead of BRL Phantom, who was Bahrain's winner. Those are very good drivers, no doubt. They are very much on the front row, but still, James B, a great lap from him to get pole position here in Portimao. There you have it. James B sets pole position here ahead of Phantom. Then comes Shredder in P3, a very good lap time from him. Then comes Hobwob in P4, a surprise showing, I would say, for him as he lines up in the second row. Valkyrie, last week's Grand Prix winner, sits in P5 ahead of KP21. Then comes Butters, the highest medium runner, in P7. We'll see what he can do ahead of Bald Guy. Then comes Redeemer, Sprightly, more Ethab, RJL, Avi, Henchman, and Fluky, and then Wrath sitting in P16, last of the runners. Everyone this time, though, got a lap time in.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to for Butters and Bald Guy racing in the mediums. Once again, the rain is going to come out soon. I don't know. I feel like the mediums can certainly keep up with the softs. Just, you need to wait until they start degrading, and other factors like the rain, if it's gonna come early enough. It's a big risk. It's a big risk, but these drivers know what they're doing, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
I'm pretty sure everyone in watching this stream is certainly ready for it. Tires strat for the moment. Everyone in the top 10 staying on the tires that they qualified on. So that means pole position down to P6, starting on the softs. Then, like we said, BRL Butters and Bald Guy, 7th and 8th on those mediums. We'll see what they can do in this race and whether they can make up positions on the harder but more durable compound of tires. Redeemer and Sprightly are on the softs. Ethab actually switched to the mediums. I saw him on the softs earlier, so he's going to go the alternate strat. RJL going on the softs. Avi, Henchman, and Wrath going on the mediums. And interestingly, Fluky is contemplating the softs. I mean, sorry, not the softs, the hards. So, going for the even harder compound attire. We'll see what Fluky can do, so we might have to watch out for him. But have to watch out for pretty much everyone as to whether they can really just make the most out of their tires.
Yeah, everyone's, choosing their final tweaks to their setups, their wings, their fuels, and I'm ready for it. I'm so excited.
Aren't we all? We are all excited as now the drivers are going to start the formation lap. James B setting a very good pole lap, starting from first ahead of Phantom. We'll see how those two go on in the first corner. The first corner is actually going to be very interesting going into this Grand Prix, as although it's a fast corner on lap 1, who knows how quick it's going to be, and as to whether how many people can make up positions. Maybe someone can pull a Kimi Räikkönen in 2020, making up a bunch of positions at the start. I think he made up like 10 positions, I believe, from P16 up into P6. Maybe someone like possibly Wrath could try and do that on the mediums, or even someone like Ethab, who's had a little bit of a poor showing despite his great showing in qualifying and the race in Bahrain. We'll see what he gets up to. And ideally, the highest medium runners of Butters and Bald Guy, let's see what they could do in the first couple of corners as to whether they got those mediums warmed up, as everyone is doing at the moment. Just trying to get those tires up to temperature and making sure that they're good for the start of this Grand Prix so they don't have cold tires and just completely fall down the order, as we saw from, well, I wouldn't say it's cold tires, but we saw a bit of a slow start in realistic yesterday with Zach the Beast. Went from, I believe, P3 or P2 to down to P10. He managed to climb back up, though, thanks to the power of the Mercedes. But let's see whether anyone else can get up there in the order, as they're now coming around the final couple of corners, and they're going to form up on the grid for the start of this Grand Prix. 33 laps ahead of us. Hopefully 33 laps of great racing.
Yep, everyone's just going into AI mode. Hopefully they don't spin off the start or in any any way or shape or form get into contact with any of the drivers. Hopefully it's a great clean start into turn 1. But let's get ready.
This is what we've been waiting for ever since yesterday. I want to see some more action. We all want to see more action, as now everyone's forming up on the grid. Rath settling into P16 in the AlphaTauri. He may be a reserve, but he's still shown some pretty great showings. Let's see what he can do from the back of the grid, as now everyone is formed up to start this Grand Prix. 5 lights are now coming on ahead of the drivers here in Portimao. It's lights out, and away we go. A decent start for the front two, and actually James B. And actually Shredder. Shredder has already caught up alongside James B. Is he going to try and challenge for the lead? Trying to go swim around the outside. Goes really wide, though. Is he going to have to get the position back? But he's going to lead the Grand Prix. But James B. diving down the inside. So it was Valkyrie. But the yellow flag in the first sector. No surprise to the racing. But now they're almost going 3 wide into turn 5. Shredder and James B going wheel to wheel. James B going onto the grass. Valkyrie sending it on the inside. Can he get ahead of both the drivers? Shredder's going to try and go for the switchback into turn 5. Doesn't make it stick. So Valkyrie from P5 all the way up to P1 already. Shredder had a bit of a look into turn 7. Hasn't quite made it stick, though. And James B has a massive moment. Nearly collects a bunch of drivers. Keeps it clean, though, but has fallen from pole position down to P8. Not the start he would have wanted. But it's actually it's actually a great start for Ethap, who's already got 5 positions at the start. I believe he started on those medium compounded tires. Yes, he has, so he's making those mediums absolutely work. But now it's Valkyrie ahead of Shredder, and then comes Phantom, who's only lost 1 position at the start. Then comes Hobwob staying in P4 ahead of KP21. Then comes Ethap, Butters, James B having a poor start. Ball Guy, Sprightly, Avi, Rathor making up, I believe, 4 positions at the start. RJL, then comes Fluky, Redeemer, and Henchman rounding out the grid. And Shredder and Valkyrie now going wheel to wheel into turn 1. Who's going to try and make it stick? Valkyrie's going to try and keep it around the outside. And does he? Yes, he does. So he managed to keep P1 ahead of Shredder, but the Haas is right on the back. And Shredder actually spins it. He spins it on the exit of 3. That is not what he wanted, and now he's fallen down to P10, now P11 and P12, and there's a huge moment! A bunch of drivers off. I think that's Sprightly and James B. Yes, it is. Those 2 drivers already down to the back of the grid, and I believe James B now has damage. Yes, he does. Does Sprightly have damage? He does as well. So it's a terrible start for the pole sitter.
More Ethap actually spun in turn 4 and he didn't go, and James B collected him in the exit, so he just completely T-boned him. More Ethap might have side pod damage because of that. Rathful also has damage, maybe. This is not a good start for many of the BRL drivers.
Well, you say that Ethap might have damage. It's not certainly significant, as he went round the outside of turn 9 on Rath, which is quite an amazing move for just the second lap. So he, despite that mistake, he's already trying to make up positions. But Valkyrie leads the first 2 laps ahead of Phantom. Hobwob now sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, as the top 3 is streaked out ahead of the drivers, and that's a spin. I believe that's Shredder. Shredder is spun, and now does he have damage? I'm not sure if he does. James B goes into the pits no doubt to change his front wing. Does Sprightly do that as well? Yes, he does. So the pole sitter and Sprightly already having a terrible start. Hobwob now looking for a move on the inside of Phantom. Can he make the move stick? No, he doesn't. Thinks otherwise of it. Phantom gets a little bit wide though. Hobwob is going to try and sneak it on the inside, but doesn't have the grip compared to it. But they're going wheel to wheel. Is he going to try and go around the outside of turn 7? No, he doesn't. Phantom covers it off. But these, the top two are absolutely just wreaking havoc as there's a spin again, and I believe that is Fluky off the exit of turn 4. Turn 4 already proving a very tricky corner for these drivers.
Yeah, we've seen at least 3 people spin, and it's only lap 3. Phantom and Hobwob battling, though. It's allowed Valkyrie to try kind of pull away. Sprightly is going reverse on the track. I don't know what's happening to him, but there's so far there's a 3-way battle for the lead, and we've still got 30 laps left with rain incoming. So this is great. You can already see Phantom exploiting his DRS, gets the fastest lap. He has DRS on Valkyrie. He could probably use that to his advantage. Will he play it patient, or will he try and catch up to Valkyrie and overtake him to get that extra advantage on him?
We'll see. I saw Bald Guy set the fast lap of the Grand Prix on those mediums. I believe he might be the highest medium runner. Actually, no, he's the second highest, but he's making those medium sticks. Phantom's going to go on the inside at turn 5. Doesn't make the move stick. Valkyrie keeps it around the outside. Goes a bit wide, though. That's going to allow Phantom to sneak back up on the inside. They're going wheel to wheel into turn 6. Does Phantom get ahead in turn 7? No, he doesn't. Valkyrie just managing to cover it off. These two drivers had already had 2 wins, 1 win. They both want that second win, and they're absolutely fighting for it.
Yep, don't forget Hobwob. A lot of people that's 2 people already having 3-second time penalties, but they're battling so hard. Valkyrie plays his card really well in order to defend from Phantom, but he's still got around 30 laps to defend and 2 overtaking zones. Sorry, 2 DRS zones that could help Phantom overtake him. Here we go. He's 2 tenths apart from him. Phantom using all of his DRS. He has the slipstream. He has the DRS. Valkyrie defends. So late, Phantom had to take avoiding action, but he does pass him into P1. Leaves Valkyrie some room. Valkyrie defends with all his might. Still trying to go around the outside. Will he get the racing line for turn 4? Phantom leaves him the space, but it gets the better exit. Valkyrie has a DRS. Can he pull the move that Phantom couldn't 1 lap ago? Phantom defends. Valkyrie pushes him through that corner and stays in P2. Hobwob's going to capitalize on this. Battling for P2. He's going to go side by side with Valkyrie. Contact! And that yields him to P3. Valkyrie goes wide in turn 8, but positions his car so Hobwob cannot take advantage. That is the order. Phantom first, Valkyrie second. Hobwob remains in third.
There was quite a bit of contact between Valkyrie and Phantom when Phantom was trying to make a move due to that late move from Valkyrie. I don't think Phantom has damage, so he managed to just get away, but there was a lot of touching between those two. They don't want to do any more of that, or else that could have big consequences. But Hobwob is absolutely trying to get past Valkyrie, as Valkyrie is actually already out of DRS. Phantom is already actually flying in this Grand Prix. Hobwob now has the DRS. That is a spin. I believe that's Ethab. Yes, it is. He spun on the exit of turn 13. But Hobwob has the DRS, he has the slipstream, he pulls out to the right-hand side and easily clears the McLaren of Valkyrie going up into P2. It's now going to try and chase after, the bit of contact between the two, and that's a spin, that's another spin, and I believe that's Butters. Butters has spun off of turn 1, yes he has.
The battle's still not over between Valkyrie and Hobwob. Valkyrie is going to go down the inside, breaks as late as he can, and makes the corner, gets back up into P2, struggles for traction a bit. He has a 3-second time penalty, so that's definitely going to hurt him in the race. Hobwob thinks about going for a move, but did not have the space to do so. He has to yield back into P3. Valkyrie is really struggling for traction here. You can see him moving his steering wheel as much as he can. Valkyrie's gone!
Valkyrie is off and out of the Grand Prix, and no surprise, that is a safety car, as that car is parked on the middle of the track. Absolute heartbreak for Valkyrie. Got a really great start and was battling for P1, has just spun it on the exit of 9 and has just absolutely ruined his Grand Prix. So unfortunate for the Chinese Grand Prix winner, as he is the first DNF out of the 16 drivers that were competing. Are we going to see some pit stops? Yes, we are. Phantom is gonna go to the pits. So is Hobwob. Is KBT1 going to follow suit? No, he doesn't. Ball Guy stays out, no surprise, on those medium compounded tires. Who else is going to pit? Is Avi going to think of pitting? No, he doesn't. Stays out. So does Butters. They're both on those medium compounded tires. What about RJL? Does he pit? Yes, he does. Valkyrie into the pits, and now a bunch of drivers are into the pits behind RJL. Redeemer, Wrath, who was surprisingly on those mediums, gets overtaken in the pits. That's a bit of a weird sight. Got overtaken by Shredder on those softs, but that's interesting that Wrath went into the pits on the mediums. Maybe he thinks that he has damage. Not entirely sure, but this is gonna help the likes of James B, who had a very poor start, and now is gonna climb up to the back and no doubt gonna try and salvage something out of this Grand Prix if he just doesn't get caught up. But safety car is now out. I believe it is just the Mercedes safety car. Yes, it is. Unfortunate. I want to see that Aston Martin a little more, but yeah. Ball Guy leading the pack now ahead of Avi and Butters. Those three haven't pitted because they're on those mediums. Now, this is going to play a very interesting factor in terms of strategy, as I'm seeing a very interesting camera angle. I'm seeing turn 9, 10, and 11. That was a really cool camera angle.
This just raises the question. I mean, you could see Hobbob on the hards. I don't know. Does he think the rain is not coming, or you could see Phantom? But anyways, the question does pop up. Are the mediums going to be with 6 laps? Are they going to be slow enough that they cannot block Phantom? Phantom is also on the mediums, but slightly younger, 6 laps younger. Can he make it up those positions? Is he going to have that grip advantage compared to those top 3?
And more importantly, if the rain doesn't come, I think they might have to pit again, because we had a safety car in Tier 3 as well. I believe the safety car came out on lap 10. Everyone on the softs pitted there, and everyone went on the mediums or the hards. I know one person who went on the mediums in that race. It was Ardell. He said he had 80% tire wear. So tire wear could play a huge factor in this race if people are going to think that these tires will not last. Hobwob is one of those people who doesn't think they're going to last, as he's on those hard compounded tires like you said. But ideally, everyone else is on those mediums except for RJL, Ethab, and Wrathful, who opted for the softs. So they're going to have to pit again without a doubt, unless the rain comes soon. And as to whether how fast the rain will come and how fast it will change the track, you'd have to look back to realistic, because that changed in a matter of 40 seconds.
Yeah, the rain did come pretty fast, and it did caught out a lot of drivers, including one of the Red Bulls. Hopefully it doesn't catch out anyone today. But yeah, when Phantom said there is rain, he said 30 minutes when the race starts. You could see the clouds starting to come in a minute ago. You could see them. When the race started, you did not see any clouds, and now you're starting to see them form in. So now we just gotta play the patient game, really. All these drivers are gonna battle it out. Safety car is going to come in this lap, waiting for the rain.
Yeah, and as they're waiting for the rain, they have to get on with the race at the same time. Ball Guy is going to lead the pack, as everyone's going to bunch up. Ball Guy, ideally, though, wants to basically pull what everybody wants to do and pull a Max Verstappen, which go really late. Actually, he's going really early, trying to catch Avi out. Hasn't worked out for him. He's now crossed the line. Race is now resumed. Avi not quite that close to Ball Guy, but he is in the slipstream, not quite close enough. Has anyone, though, tried to catch anyone else? There's quite a huge gap, actually, between Shredder and RJL. RJL getting massively caught out, and that's a spin, and that's Ethab. Ethab is off
Oh,
at
he's off
turn
as
1, I
well.
think. Oh, and Sprightly, yeah, Sprightly is off as well. I don't think those
So
two made
many
contact,
people.
but they certainly had contact with someone, and those two still having just a terrible race. Both Alpines are just not having a good time. Shredder now getting past Redeemer up into P8, making those mediums kind of last a little bit. Give us a good camera view, cameraman. Thank you. Going through into Samsung corner, turn 8. And, well, everyone's still keeping it clean at the moment. Ball guy still pulling quite a gap, actually, to Butters at the moment. Already 1.1, 1.2 ahead. But Butters is also going to be aware of Phantom, who was leading this Grand Prix and is right on the back of that Mercedes. We'll see whether Phantom can make up these positions. He lined up. He was P4 at the safety car restart. Now he's P3. He's using that ERS. He's in the slipstream of the Mercedes of Butters. He's gaining. Is he going to go for a move into turn 1? Butters goes the defensive line. Phantom is just going to absolutely blast high on those more durable mediums compared to Butters, and goes up into P2. So this is exactly what Phantom wanted, and he's now going to chase after Ball Guy and back up into the race lead. As Shredder left the session, might need an invite back. James B has made his way up into P10. So has Wrath. Both getting past RJL. RJL just not having a good time on those medium, I believe medium compounded. Soft compounded tires. He's already passed one driver who's on old mediums, and the other one on brand new softs. Henchman gets a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help his race as he gets past. Shredder, who has unfortunately disconnected, but he joined right back. But yeah, so far though, everyone's still keeping it smooth. Bit of a gap though between Phantom and Ball Guys, so Phantom is not entirely gaining enough on the Ferrari, which is very interesting. So maybe Ball Guy still has a lot of pace on those mediums, despite them being 7 laps older compared to the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, Phantom does have the DRS gap to try and overtake Ball Guy now. Ball Guy's definitely going to feel the pressure. I think Ball Guy knows he can win this race if he just keeps it clean, keeps his pace up until the rain comes. Phantom is gaining considerably a lot on him though. You can see how much every corner, the grip advantage he has. He's using his ERS, he's using the DRS as well, getting as close as he can. Butters and Fluky have 3-second time penalties. Looks like this track is really proving deadly to the penalty warning system.
Yeah, we saw it in realistic where a bunch of people were getting penalties. I believe one person had like over 20 seconds worth of penalties. Speaking of penalties, Sprightly gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. And Phantom, the previous lap, he actually set a fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so I was wrong about him not quite having the pace. He is just getting ever so much closer to that Ferrari. It's Ferrari power versus Ferrari power. Ferrari against Alfa Romeo. I'm saying Ferrari like 50 times, but we move. As Phantom is now, he's got the DRS this lap. He has the ERS. He's on the back of Bald Guy. Is he going to go for a move into turn 1 and retake the lead of this Grand Prix? He's going to get in the slipstream. DRS is now open, sets a purple 3rd sector, so he got a really good launch out of the final corner. Is he going to go for a move into turn 1? They're going wheel to wheel into turn 1. Phantom gets the lead though. Ball Guy's actually going to fight it back though, as they're going wheel to wheel into turn 3. The Phantom has the inside, Ball Guy has the outside. I think Phantom went a bit deep. No, he didn't actually, and Phantom retakes the lead as we now have a huge moment, and RJL is out.
RJL, that's a really straight corner to go out. Maybe he has
Virtual
some
safety car.
contact between another driver. Yeah, virtual safety car might be out. The full course safety car might be out. I mean, that might be a glitch, but I'm not sure if they patched it out yet. Wow, Phantom had to make that. Imagine if Phantom did not make that move, and he'd still be stuck behind Buckeye with the virtual safety car.
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect timing for the Alfa Romeo, but now he's going to have to be careful to not go past the Delta. If you go past the Delta, you will get a drive-through penalty. Phantom just has to keep it calm now until this virtual safety car ends, and then he can go back to racing. But Phantom just absolutely making the most of those mediums. Already getting past the 3 people in front of him, I believe. 2 or 3. as there we go. Virtual safety car is now ending. Nobody has gotten a drive-through, so well done to everyone as they did not go over the Delta. And we're back to racing.
Well,
Phantom
does have
ahead
a
of Ball
chance.
Guy. Yeah, he does. He's got the DRS. He does have the slipstream. Is he using that ERS? No, he isn't. He's gaining. He is gaining, but it's not going to be enough. Phantom still holds position in the turn 1. But despite him having 7-lap older mediums, he's still making those tires work quite nicely. So well done to Ball Guy for absolutely sticking it out, as it's actually playing quite well. But Phantom ahead of Ball Guy, ahead of Butters, then KP21 ahead of Hobwob. Then comes Avi, Shredder, Henchman, Redeemer, James B. Despite that poor start, he's in the top 10. He's getting closer to the Alfa Romeo of Redeemer. Redeemer actually goes really deep. James B gets a good exit out of turn 5, and he sails past the Alfa Romeo up into P9. So he's already making the grounds. Despite that, despite the first couple of laps up into P9, and is going to go and chase after the Williams of Henchman, who has currently 8 seconds at the moment, but he doesn't want to stick behind. He wants to pass him. He just wants to absolutely tear through this field, and he is trying every which way to do. He still has quite a lot of ERS, so that'll pay off well compared to, actually, I say they got a bunch of people still have ERS, as there's a yellow flag. I believe that is Sprightly, as he is off at Samsung Corner.
Probably's not had a good race so far. But look at the clouds. Again, we're speaking about the clouds. They're starting to come in ever so slightly. Once again, they're starting to block the sun now. On certain parts of the track, it's getting there.
Yeah, and going back to James B, he had the DRS on Henchman, and now is up into P8, making grounds, like I said, on those mediums. Going to chase after Shredder now, as now Avi and Shredder are going wheel to wheel. Shredder gets past Avi up into P6, and will try and get back up onto the podium, but he's got quite a bit of a gap to do that. But as for now, the podium sitters at the moment, so far, keeping it clean, keeping it smooth. Ball Guy still keeping on the back of that Alfa Romeo. He's still got a lot of pace despite being on the older mediums. And Butters not too far behind. He may be at a DRS, but he can still capitalize on a mistake if one of these drivers do. And well, as to whether they will make a mistake, we'll have to find out, as that is someone off, and that is Henchman. Henchman is off at turn 11, or turn 12, sorry. And is going to try and come back onto the track. Oh, actually, never mind. I think that might have been a bit of desync, as he's now back up into P10. So that's interesting. But so far, right now, everyone just kind of spreading out a bit. Everyone just keeping calm. So might as well check for how many people have gained positions, how many people lost. So far, the biggest gainer right now is actually 3 people. Wrath, Avi, and Ball Guy, all making up 6 positions. Ball Guy, though, the highest of those who made up the most ground up in the podium in P2, but he's lost DRS of Phantom.
Yeah, I'm not sure if those are his tires starting to degrade. This is a point where you could see the pace difference between the newer tires. Phantom's tires are still relatively, in that awkward stage where it's not really dropping off the pace yet. They're still kind of good. He's still setting a purple sector 2 there. And Ball Guy's just falling back a lot now after lap 13, after 13 laps on those mediums.
Yep, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I certainly have. Have you noticed that the sun isn't there anymore? The rain is coming ever so much closer. It could happen in the next lap. It could happen in a couple of laps. We'll see. But everyone's fully aware of this. Phantom sets a fast lap of the Grand Prix, as Avi at the same time gets a 3-second time penalty that'll add to his, I would say woes, but he's sitting in P7. But the rain is definitely coming, folks.
Right now, everyone's just keeping their gaps, seeing if anyone can overtake here. All it takes is one mistake, and you lose all momentum, and you get passed straight away in this track. It's amazing. That's what makes it so good with racing. Only person in the top 5 with the penalty is BRL Butters.
Yeah, and it's only a 3-second. He's got a 2-second gap to KP21. Maybe he can try and stretch it out and cement his podium place for now, unless KP21 gets a penalty. But there's actually still quite a few penalties further down. Shredder with 3 seconds, Avi with 6 seconds, Redeemer also with 6 seconds, Henchman with 8. Fluky with the most with 18. He is not having a Grand Prix as he's sitting in P13. Another person who's also not having a Grand Prix, Sprightly, down in P14 and with the 9 seconds. And I saw a bit of rain. The rain has come. It is here, folks.
Now all it takes is for the track to be wet enough and people will switch to those intermediates. Ball Guy has planned this out extremely well. Luck has definitely been on his side. He stayed out on the safety car and now is up into P2. I don't want to jinx anything, but yeah, all he needs to do is keep the pace up. Last race in China, it was a rain race as well. So hopefully he learned from his mistakes there and can reach for a high position. We're just waiting. I'm just waiting for the track to physically look greasy here and people will start going into the pit lane.
I'm on board with Phantom right now, and I'm seeing a little bit of bubbles at the moment. Sprightly gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But the question is, what is Valkyrie going to do? Is Valkyrie going to go on the inters? Yes, he is. So Sprightly already gambling for those inters. And let's see how that pays off for him. As we know, in realistic, the rain came and it took 40 seconds basically to go to a dry track. To go to a wet track. We'll see what Phantom does. He comes around the final corner. Keeps it easy. Easy gonna go into the pits. Yes, he does. Phantom pits, and he's gonna no doubt gonna go onto the inters. That gives P1 to Ball Guy. But has Phantom played this off well? Can he make those inters work well to the point that he can get a huge gap as he comes in, as well as I believe a couple other people came in as well. Yes, Butters is coming. So has Ethap and Henchman. Those four gambling for those inters. Let's see how that pays off as as Ball Guy and Phantom were not that much separated. There was over a second gap. But we'll see what Phantom does as he's coming out of the pits. We'll have to see whether Ball Guy can keep it easy through the corners. And you can see now, Ball Guy is actually starting to struggle. So the wet is now starting to affect all the people that stayed on the slicks, especially Ball Guy as he got loose on the exit of 8. So could this have paid off? Could have Phantom hold a master class and done almost the impossible, as we have a spin
Butters.
now. I believe that's Butters. Butters on those inters. He's spun on the exit of 5, so that's not gone well for him. But we're still gonna stay with Phantom. You can see rain pellets on the track now on board with Phantom.
He's out.
He stayed out. The Ball Guy thinks it's still not dry. It's still not wet enough. He thinks that he could stay out another lap. I've been watching the gap between Phantom and Wrath. It's increasing. Phantom is not gaining time. Has Ball Guy pulled a masterclass over Phantom, stayed out a little bit longer, and somehow managed to get ahead? We'll have to see. I think the gap between Phantom and Ball Guy is 28 seconds. Ball Guy has a pit stop over Phantom, as we see a spinner, and that is Fluky spinning on those mediums. He's probably going to think that he's going to pit now. I saw Hobbob was in the pits. He's come out in P9.
I think the track
he's come out in P9 right behind Phantom.
The track.
So by Hobbob staying a lap out, he's gained on Phantom.
Yeah, the track is definitely now way more greasier than it was 1 lap ago. KB21 actually, you can see him closing into the back of Ball Guy Racing. He could also be in this wind fight as well, out of nowhere. We'll have to see
Ball
where
Guy
he
really
pits.
struggling. Yeah, Ball Guy's really struggling on those mediums compared to KP21. There was quite a bit of gap between the two. Now it's down to basically nothing. I think the DRS was disabled before. Does Ball Guy go into the pits this lap? Yes, he does. DRS is actually still enabled as we have a spin. Is that Phantom? No, it's redeemed his teammate. I thought it was Phantom for a second, but no. Phantom just manages to keep it. But now we're gonna go over to Ball Guy. Is he gonna go on those on the enter compound? Yes, he does. He had a 28-second gap to Phantom. Let's see if that pays how that pays off. Coming out of the pits, stays ahead of KP21 ideally. Where's Phantom? He's on the main straight, but he's nowhere near. Ball Guy has just overcut Phantom for the lead of this Grand Prix. So is KP21 and Shredder. So the lead for the top three has completely changed as Shredder shoves Phantom off the track there, but still keeps P3. We'll see how that goes on in the stewards, because that could be something. But the top three, all of a sudden, is completely different to what we were seeing before. The only one staying on the podium is Ball Guy. So Ball Guy, out of nowhere, starting on those mediums, he's leading the Grand Prix.
Yep, and surprise, you know, KP is also surprising. Shredder is also, they're both in the top three. KP21 is battling Ball Guy with this, I think, honestly, in my opinion, with the superior confidence. He is right on his tail, just chasing him down, waiting to see if he makes a mistake, but Ball Guy is not cracking. There's still 13 laps left of this Grand Prix. Phantom is 2 seconds behind on Shredder. Well, now 1 second. But literally, the top four, anyone in the top four could win this. All it takes is a mistake.
Yeah, Ball Guy, who was one of the highest people to start on the mediums behind Butters, keeping it clean, stayed out, and undoubtedly has just made everything work. But the top four can still win this. But the DRS is disabled, so that's not going to aid them. So as of right now, you're just gonna have to be absolutely ballsy to try and make a move. But Ball Guy so far staying ahead of KP21. They're all on the inters. Phantom having a little bit more time on those inters, but he's just not making enough of it. He needs to get past Shredder as he's looking for a move, and that's a spin. I believe that's Sprightly on the exit of 4. Yes, it is. Sprightly just not having a good time on this track at all, as he's gonna now try and come back. But it's gonna be interesting how this plays out. 21 laps have been played out, or 20 laps rather, as Fluky has been disqualified.
That's just, he might have gotten the same thing that Mumu got in qualifying, where he just tried to get back on the track, but the game just disqualified him. That is unlucky. He had a lot of time penalties as well. So this race weekend was not going his way. From leading at the start of turn 1 in Bahrain and crashing because of oversteer to now disqualified in Portimao once again, adding to his streak of bad races.
It's heartbreak for one Ferrari, but for the other side of the garage, and the other, on the other side of the Ferrari garage, you have Ball Guy leading this Grand Prix, making the alternate strat absolutely work, staying a lap out ahead of Phantom, and has got basically a 2-car buffer between him and Phantom. But he can still win this. Shredder. Anyone can still win this. Shredder goes, he spins, I think, just keeping out of the wall. But that is him out of the top, the train for P1, and now it's down to just 3 people for the time being. Ball Guy, KP21, and Phantom. 12 laps to go in this Grand Prix, and we're still not done yet. We're still not done with action.
Yep, 11 laps remaining, and you can see KP21 with really wide in turn 8. Remember, turn 8 Samsung corner is very, very deadly, especially in the rain. And a lot of corners are deadly here. Phantom gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting turn 10. That's not good if he still wants to win this race. He's still behind KP21. He's on his tail, but that 3-second is definitely going to set him off.
What he needs now at this point is either for the two in front of him to get penalties, or for them to spin off, because that has just absolutely crushed Phantom's dreams. That doesn't mean he's out of contention, but it's going to be an even tougher ask for him to win this Grand Prix. He's gonna stay on the podium for the time being, but we'll just have to see and whether what place on the podium that will be. As now there's a bit of a gap forming between Bald Guy and KP21, 1.2, 1.3, now down to 1.1. Bald Guy went a bit wide though with the exit of 3, and that's allowed KP21 to just be outside of the 1 second margin. But it's just super close, and anything can still happen. There's still 10 laps to go. It's it's really just a race as to whether who can keep it on the track, who can keep it clean, who can keep it smooth, and who will ideally come out on top.
Yep, the gap is around 1 second, 1.5 seconds between the top 3 right now. Bald Guy is controlling this pack. Phantom gets like 2 warnings from the same corner again. He's really struggling in these rain conditions ever since Bald Guy had pulled that overcut on him.
Yeah, it has not gone well. He may have been starting on the front row, but it's just, he just went on the inters too soon. He was thinking back to realistic where the track went to inter conditions really soon. It hasn't happened this time though, but he's on the back of KP21 now. Is he gaining enough to make a move into turn 1? KP21 goes into the defensive line, covers it off though, stays P2. Then it compromises exit though. No, it hasn't. Phantom goes in the inside of turn 3. They make contact. Has Phantom spun it? No, he hasn't. He managed to keep it off, but that has lost him quite a bit of time between him, KP21, and Bald Guy. And there's a bit of a bold move there. Hasn't worked out. As to whether KP21 will have side pod damage or not, we'll have to wait and see. Phantom just getting really aggressive. He really wants those positions. He wants to just get ahead of Bald Guy as he's still right on the back of that Red Bull. He's just looking at that Honda badge on the rear wing. He doesn't want to see that for any longer. He's just trying his absolute hardest, but it's just getting so close, but so far nothing. But he's going to try and go for the inside of turn 10. Thinks better of it. The KP21 just covers off. Little bit of contact though in turn 10 and turn 11. KP21 just really playing the defensive line. Phantom trying alternate lines to really get ahead of that Red Bull, and he nearly makes contact again. He's just absolutely pushing it, really using the track limits to his absolute limit compared to KP21. And he's got the slipstream. KP21 though a little bit wide there. But Phantom, he has the slipstream. He's really close to that Red Bull. He's in the slipstream. He has the ERS. Is it going to be enough, though? He's gaining a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough. KP21 holds P2 for now, but he kind of compromises his line. Is that going to allow Phantom to get on the inside of turn 3? He dives on the inside. Is he going to make the move work? KP21 keeps it around the outside. He switches to the inside. Phantom getting really loose, though, on the exit of 3, but now he's got the slipstream again. KP21 covers it off on the inside. Phantom going to try and go around the outside of turn 5. They're going wheel to wheel in the turn 5 hairpin as KP21 shoves Phantom a little bit wide, but they're still going wheel to wheel into turn 6. You gotta want to be careful to not spin and make contact. Phantom has the inside. KP21 though keeps it on the outside. They're still going wheel to wheel through Samsung corner. Phantom, KP21, none of them are wanting to give up, but eventually Phantom gets the position ahead of the Red Bull, but that has lost him a lot of time to the Ferrari Bald Guy as he goes a little bit deep into turn 11, but stays ahead for the time being. Wow, these two are really having it.
Yeah, they gave a lot of respect to each other through turn 7, and it gave them the space even though they still made contact throughout most of the lap. Phantom finally succeeded and took the place from KP21. All he has to do is gain 3 seconds from him, which right now he is doing 3.2 seconds. He's gonna try and gain on, sorry, I'm on leader interval. 1.4, sorry, 7 tenths from Phantom right now. Start from KP21. Was it worth it, all those laps battling with KP21 for Phantom? I'm not sure. The race has to keep going for us to see if it was worth it, but he's gonna chase down Bald Guy. He had the pace on him in the dry. Can he do it again in the rain?
We'll have to wait and see, as I actually am just noticing now, Shredder, despite the mistake he had in the exit of 4, he's caught right back up to these guys. So Shredder's still not out of this fight. He can still get a podium, but he needs to get ahead of Phantom, who's the only other one with a 3-second. If he gets ahead of Phantom, he'll ideally be on the podium. But he's got a 5-second gap right now to James B in the Alpine. Shredder is still not done yet. But now the gaps are starting to spread out a bit. Phantom trying to gain on Bald Guy. 1.7 between the two. And there's also a 1.6 second gap between Phantom and Shredder. So that, I mean, not Shredder, KP21. So Phantom does have the pace over the Red Bull. But it's just basically matching the Ferrari. But we'll just have to wait and see. Can he still get P2 with, I believe, 7 laps to go in this Grand Prix?
Remember, KP21 is leading this championship, or I don't know what, I have to do some math at the end of this race to see if he's still leading. But with Phantom's race, you know, with Phantom absent in China, he needed those points in order to try and catch up to KP21, which right now, on paper, is his strongest rival after Valkyrie retired from that Grand Prix.
Yeah, and speaking of KP21, he went a little bit wide on the exit of 4. That's allowed Shredder to get closer to him. And if you've actually noticed, the rain, it's gotten worse. So that's interesting. The rain, the intensity, like Phantom said before, it's getting worse. Could we see wets?
There's certainly enough time for that. We'll have to see who bulges first, who goes for the wets first. It certainly will be more beneficial for the people behind to probably pit and to see if those wets work. But, excuse me. But, you know, it's a lot of pressure for Quad Guy, Phantom, KP21 to see if this strategy will work. Shredder is catching up to KP21 right now. KP21 is struggling a lot in the rain. Shredder is using all of his ERS. KP21 is going to go defensive. He's going to weave back. He realizes that Shredder cannot go for the move. He does not have enough straight and enough speed to overtake him for the podium position.
And I've actually noticed this as well as Shredder was trying to gain on KP21. There's over a 3-second gap to Phantom and KP21, so Phantom is now ideally P2 right now. So all he needs to do is keep it calm and hope that Bald Guy makes a mistake if he wants to win this Grand Prix. And I just looked at the championship standings before, and with KP21, this being his 3rd podium, he will still be leading the championship standings as he's 8 points ahead of Phantom for the time being. But it's still very close. It'll go down to 5 points, or actually 4 points, because Phantom, let's not forget, he has the fastest lap. That's still playing crucial at the moment.
He's lost some time to Bald Guy. It was 1.3, now it's 1.7.
Yeah, yes, but the gap between him and KP21, though, still staying stationary. But KP21 has to be careful as he's still got Shredder right on the back of him. Shredder looking like he has quite a bit of pace compared to KP21, but he's just not able to get the move ahead. The rain definitely is getting worse. You can just see it on board with Shredder as he's in the slipstream of KP21. He's got the ERS, doesn't have DRS, though. Isn't quite close enough to make a move into turn 1. Gets really on the curve, though, kind of unsettles the car a bit, but keeps it calm for now, as I've actually heard that a lot of people prefer inters compared to dries due to the fact that it's not as slippy. Right now, Shredder kind of proving that. Speaking of which, he gets another 3 seconds, so that's not going to help him at all, as he nearly tries to go for it on KP21, blocking the fronts, but still not enough. But now now he really needs to get ahead if he wants to pull a gap to him and James B, because James B is now currently sitting P4 with Shredder and his 6 seconds. 4.9 between the two. We'll see how that plays off. And, well, as for the gap between Phantom and Bald Guy, it's starting to close down a bit again, 1.3. But Phantom, I don't think he has the pace enough to pass Ball Guy and get ahead. But I think Ball Guy made a bit of a mistake. I'm not entirely sure. I saw the gap go down to 1.0. It's gone back up to 1.3. So maybe he's just trying an alternate line. But it's still going to be interesting as whether this plays out. No one has pitted yet, so I don't think that anyone is going to contemplate the wet compound of tire. So I think it's just going to be interest for the end, but the rain is definitely getting worse. This is almost like Russia, but a little bit calmed down, if you think about it.
Yeah, Ball Guy's definitely kept it super calm this whole race. Every time Phantom does not pass Ball Guy, every lap, he's just wasting it, wasting every moment. 3 laps remaining. The gap is now less than a second. It's now or never for the American driver, the Canadian driver against the American driver.
Yeah, Phantom over here supporting Canada. I'm with you on this as you're currently settling on the podium, which I'm still very happy about. But he won't get the championship lead, but he'll still get closer in contention.
Oh,
and Shredder's off.
Yep.
That's allowed James B to now go up into P4, and that is not what Shredder wanted, as now he's lost P5, and Phantom gets another 3 seconds. He's 6.2, 5.5 now. He's now going to have to be careful, because he could potentially now lose P3.
Dude,
so that's not gone well for Phantom at all.
Yup. I was gonna say he got a 6 second, but he's in luck because KP21 is exactly 6 seconds behind him. But seems to be that does not seem to be the case anymore. 5.4 seconds. Phantom right now. I don't think he should be focusing on Bud Guy. He should be focusing on KP21.
Yeah, these two currently sitting 1 and 2 in the championship standings at the moment, with KP21 leading Phantom at the moment. If KP21 does get ahead of Phantom due to time penalties, KP21 will increase his championship lead to now 10 points. But that is depending if Phantom manages to get out of the 6 second or not. It's 5.8 at the moment. We're going to keep watching that gap and hope that Phantom does not get any more penalties. And as to whether KP21 will get a penalty, but for one that has definitely helped, it's helped Ball Guy. He just needs to keep it calm and keep it in track limits, and he will no doubt win this Grand Prix, in which he started P8 on those mediums. He's just pulled a masterclass right now. So whether you're here, Feta, yeah. I'm not sure.
Sorry.
Right, oh, you are? Okay. Went a little bit silent there.
Ran out of things to say. I'm kidding. Yeah, the gap is really just on and off between Ball Guy and Phantom. 1 lap, Ball Guy's faster. He's pulling 2/10 a lap. One lap, Phantom is just inside that 9 second. And you know, it looks like he might overtake him, but with that 6 second again, really struggling with penalties here. In realistic, he got, I think, 18 seconds, so it's definitely a step up. I think that realistic race really gave him a bit of more consistency and more laps under his belt of this track, especially in online races. The gap is now 6.5 seconds between Phantom and KP21, but KP21 is going to push his hardest. There's 2 laps remaining, 1.5 laps remaining, technically. Wow, what a race it's been.
Yep, 1.5 laps to go. Ball Guy still leading this Grand Prix ahead of Phantom. He's no doubt kept a very nice and clean drive. KP21 trying to push his absolute hardest. Now 7 seconds between him and Phantom. So he's going to want Phantom to make a mistake now or get another 3 second. But as of right now, it's all just staying stationary, as really the closest battle is for the final podium place. But
through the penultimate corner. Oh, he saved it though. He lost a lot of time.
You're right. That's put KP21 back in the 6 second. It's 5.5 now. He's gonna have to gain 4/10 if he wants to get it. As Ball Guy now comes across the line, he's going to start the final lap of this Grand Prix. We're going to have to watch that gap between Phantom and KP21 at the moment. But the gap between Ball Guy and Phantom has significantly increased. Shredder gets another 3 second. That's not going to help him at all. but Bald Guy has kept it absolutely clean, and no doubt is proving everything. He's done extremely well in this Grand Prix. But now the gap between Phantom KB21 currently 5.8, 5.9. KB21 is probably really pushing. The gap is super small. Will KB21 get ahead of Phantom? We'll have to wait and see. But these three drivers, they kept it clean in this Grand Prix. Had a few iffy moments. Shredder gets past KP21. He gets ahead of James B up into P4, but he does have, I believe, 9 seconds worth of penalties. Yes, he does. So that's going to drop him down to P6 for now. Still some decent points, but he wanted the podium. Hasn't worked out for him. Gap between Phantom and KP21, 6.0, 3.8. As the Ball Guy's left the session. That's not gone well for him, but I think despite him having the AI, I think he'll still have enough to win this Grand Prix, as still Phantom has that 6 second. Ball Guy's AI comes around the final quarter, and he's going to go ahead and win the Portuguese Grand Prix. Phantom comes home in the second. KB21, has he got the gap to get ahead of Phantom? No, he doesn't. Just over 2 tenths ahead was Phantom, and he gets P2. KB21 settles into P3. James B, due to Shredder's penalty, gets P4. Hobwob gets P5, and then Shredder comes home P6. More Ethab. He's had a bit of a up and down race, but he comes home for some decent points in P7 ahead of Avi, who I'm not sure if he's had some rough races or not. Goes really wide though on the exit of the final corner. He gets P8. Redeemer gets P9, but the Henchman has that penalty advantage, and he gets P9. Redeemer gets P10. Butters gets P11, and Wrathful rounds off the top 12, settling in last of the late runners.
Bald Guy, after having the lowest of lows in China last race, DNFing in lap 10, he's finally won a race, third different winner in the third different track of BRL. This is an insane season so far. We have 3 different winners, and he's done it in style. He disconnected from the session and let his AI take over. Points will 100% points will definitely be awarded to him. As long as you complete, I think, at least 75% of the race alone without your AI, you will get 100% points. So that's good.
That's good, which he has, I believe. Yep. So like you said, Ball Guy will no doubt have the race win, and he has done it in style, like you said. He did the alternate strat starting on the mediums. He was the second highest runner to start on those mediums, and that has absolutely paid off for him as he gets the win in Portimao, the third winner of 3 that have won, ahead of Phantom and Valkyrie, who've won a Grand Prix. Phantom, who won in Bahrain, gets P2, so double podium technically for him. It's not in a row though, because he didn't show up to China. KP21 gets a third podium in a row, ahead of James B, Hobwob, Shredder. Then comes more Ethab, Avi, Henchman, and Wrath, actually rounding off the top 10, as I think Redeemer and Butters both have penalties.
Yeah, I'll invite these guys for interviews now. Wow, what a race! When that rain happened, everyone who you expected to be in the fight from the podium was not fighting for the podium, and Bald Guy played that strategy really well under safety car. KP21 really did as well, overcutting Phantom. Phantom had to fight as hard as he can for P4 to sling into P2.
It was very hard fought, but it was definitely one that they have taken. And well, like we've had before, they've provided entertainment all throughout. As we are now going to go on to the podium, and Feta, why don't you start us off here with P3?
Yeah, KP21, third consecutive podium in a row, the most out of any driver right now. You were still leading the championship. You were racing your championship rival Phantom a bit through there, but just talk us through your race. What were you thinking when the rain came out, did you want to stay out, undercut? That overcut really helped you get that second position.
When the rain started, I knew Phantom went in a bit too early, and plus I had someone near me saying something about it as well, so he was helping me. But it's not really a strong track for me, Portugal, compared to others.
Well, despite this not being a strong track, you still managed to close it off with your third podium already. 3 out of 3 podiums for you, as you're really cementing your place as the championship contender already. So well done to you. As we now move on to P2, which was BRL Phantom. So Phantom, you had the front row, and you had a bit of a shaky start, but you managed to come back up to the lead of the Grand Prix. Then the safety car, you opted for the mediums, and you had to get past Bald Guy, but just when you pit for the inters, it was just a bit too early, and the 6 seconds definitely not helping at all. But you still managed to get P2. What did you make of that race?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed with the early pit stops, just because I was playing on the wet rather to be like a realistic tier, how it just went from dries to inners all of a sudden. So I was playing it more safe and didn't want to cause a spin later on in the race, but yeah, I definitely probably could have stuck that for another 2-3 laps and then gone to inners. But I'm still happy with the P2 position and fastest lap that I got as well.
Yeah, and you very much closed your gap between you and KP21, as I now believe it is 4 points between you, so you two are very much in contention for this. I know it's only the 3rd race, but yeah. And now we move on to P1. And Feta, do you want to take this?
Yeah, of course. Bald Guy, not the best way to end a race for you. Definitely gave you a heart attack in the end in the penultimate corner when you disconnected. But that aside, I mean, that strategy masterclass from you when you decided to stay out of that safety car, did you think you were going to win the race? Did you think you have a chance to win the race? Thinking about the rain, at the end, and your pace with Phantom.
Oh, sorry about that. That was the team popping the cork on the champagne. Absolutely.
Popping it out early, I see.
Oh, yes. I mean, the reality of it is no win is ever guaranteed, and, I was sweating bullets there towards the end, worried about spinning at any moment in time. Turn 8 tried to get me a couple times, but thankfully the strategy played out, worked exactly how I had hoped it to. Saw Phantom pulling early, and I was a little shocked by that, but thankful for it. And so yeah, first win this year. We're very happy with that. But heart attack for sure. I need to go to the doctor right now because popped up. I was like, what? So I still didn't get to see the checkered flag, but it is what it is. Congratulations, guys! Great podium, and I just wanted to thank you two both for doing the broadcast. I think we all really enjoy watching it back.
Well, thank you for those words. We try our hardest to entertain everyone, and well done to all 3 of you rounding off the podium. You all had very interesting races, but like an interesting race here in Portimao, but nonetheless you still rounded off with the podium. So well done to all 3 of you. And that is going to be it here in Breakout Racing League today. But be sure to tune in tomorrow, 8 p.m. EST. You will have Tier 2, and then 10 p.m. EST, you will have Tier 1. 2 of the fastest tiers racing it out here at the same track, Portimao. We're at 15 corners that they will have to negotiate, and we'll see how they get on. But from me and Feta, that is everything for today. So we thank you, and good night.